Oh, yes. There will be blood.
Hello, my trigger happy friends. My name is Stevie Cade, and thank you for joining me as I continue my journey reviewing every Saw movie leading up to the release of Spiral, the Book of Saw. And also, my buddy and fellow YouTuber Cody Leach is doing his review of the Saw movies. I believe his first video will drop later this week, but I will put a link to his channel in the description below. So head over to his channel, be sure you subscribe. He's got almost 40,000 followers for a reason. But also, before we get started, if you could, hit that subscribe button and the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So head down to the comment section, grab your keyboards, and let's review Saw 2. On the hunt for the twisted vigilante known as Jigsaw, Detective Erik Matthews and his team must apprehend the elusive murderer in order to save 8 people, including Detective Matthews' own son. So to my surprise, I actually ended up having a lot to talk about when it came to this movie. I wasn't expecting that. I typically try to write between 6 to 10 pages of notes. This one has 16. So I'm going to immediately jump into what I like about this movie. The overall story I thought was told very well and was very well balanced. We have a lot of characters to follow in this movie, but there's not too many subplots or side stories that get us distracted from what's actually happening in the film or disrupts its flow. And even the ones that we do get are quickly passed over and they don't take us down any useless rabbit holes or anything like that. So we have our two main stories, what's happening in this house of horrors and what's happening between John and Detective Matthews. And those two stories are interwoven really well with each other and they flow smoothly as the movie progresses, which keeps the pacing of the film very strong even during the slow parts. And there are a few slow parts, but they're investments of time because they pay off in the end as you understand the characters more, specifically how Detective Matthews' patience is being tested. And the 3 main characters of this movie landed on my what I like list, starting with John, aka Jigsaw, played by Tobin Bell. We dive deeper into what drives John and how he plans to continue his legacy even after his death. In this movie, his cancer has progressed, so he's become much weaker and much more fragile. He comes across as a combination of Nosferatu, Darth Sidious, and Lex Luthor, and this adds a much deeper eeriness to Jigsaw.
Where is he? Where is he? That's a problem you're gonna have to solve before it's too late. He has about 2 hours before the gas creeping into his nervous system begins to break down his body tissue and he begins to bleed from every orifice he has. Oh, yes. There will be blood.
He's got nothing to lose and he can't be threatened or bargained with. He has already set up this house of cards and he's just sitting back watching how they fall. So let's say he randomly dies. His plan will still be carried out no matter what. His plan has its own life at this point. It doesn't matter what happens to Jigsaw. So diving this much deeper into the character, I really enjoyed getting to know Jigsaw and what fuels his fire. Although there is an addition, he gets in this car accident and apparently that's what makes him realize he can live through anything. It's a weird and weak subplot. I didn't think it was necessary, but it's there, but they don't spend too much time on it, so good. And then we have Amanda starring Shawnee Smith. I was so happy to see her return. I actually know Shawnee Smith from the show Becker. That kind of ages me a little bit, and I had a huge crush on her. But her returning for this sequel made her an official Scream Queen. The arc they give her is not only the perfect way to give validity to John's work, but also a very smart concept to keep this franchise going. And they did. Her reveal at the end was completely unexpected, yet a very welcome twist.
And you are my first test subject. Game over.
I'll fucking kill you!
I do have some issues with her overall involvement in this movie, which I'll dive into a little bit later, but Amanda, the character herself, I thought was a very solid addition to this film. Detective Matthews, played by Donnie Wahlberg. That's right, the guy from New Kids on the Block. This is not only a very important character, very important story for us and you, the audience. His entire arc is built upon his own regrets and unable to let go of control. The way this character is presented makes the audience put ourselves in his shoes. We all have regrets. We've all made mistakes. We've all been in situations that we haven't been able to control even when we wanted to. So we see ourselves in this position. How would we handle being in a situation where we had to overcome ourselves? Because he is his own worst enemy in this film. His rage, control issues, and remorse blind him for what's going on in the world around him. And this is what John is trying to make him see and understand.
Move closer, Detective Matthews.
John is trying to show him if you just sit down and listen to what's going on around you, you'll find the answers you seek. Now, in this movie, we have a new setup for the game. It's pretty much like an escape room situation. But I do really like the concept of watching this team, scramble trying to find this antidote that they need to survive, even though not a single one of them does. not a one. Nobody in this film gets the antidote. Well, I guess Ollie kind of got the antidote, but he just couldn't hang on to it. And then there's the overall aesthetic of the film, the score, the cinematography, the tone. It's very similar to the first movie, which is good. Since the setup in this movie is so different, it's nice to see that there's a visual connection between the two, so you know that we're in an established Saw world. At least it's not one of those drastic changes from sequel to sequel that we've seen so many times in other horror franchises. Now, moving right along to what I'm on the fence about when it comes to this film, and we're going to head back to Amanda with what I touched base on earlier about her involvement with the entire game. But first, let me explain this. Even though I've seen some of the other films and I know exactly what happens with this character's arc, I try to put all that aside and look at this movie as a standalone. This raised a lot of questions for me. Once they revealed Amanda's role at the end of the film, I really started to think back and realize that her entire time in the house was a misdirection, because it seems to me that she was only kept there to keep Detective Matthews' child, Daniel, alive. Because if Daniel gets killed, then the entire plan with Detective Matthews is shot. So obviously he had to stay alive, or Jigsaw would be a liar. And if we know there's one thing Jigsaw isn't, it's a liar. Maybe he might be a murderer, but damn it, he has integrity. So that makes Amanda being involved necessary and kind of a big lie. The rules of Jigsaw's game are clear, and this seems like cheating. But even though the rules of the game are clear, the instructions, not so much. Somebody loves analogies and pop culture references.
Remember, Albie, once you are in hell, only the devil can help you out.
Never noticed this before until I watched it this time. I noticed there's a little devil on the wall in the oven next to a knob with the word that says twist. Only the devil can get you out. I guarantee that would have been some sort of watering system that would have put out the fire. Very, very clever. But one thing's for sure, you definitely have to use your brain in this movie, which is why most of the people die, because they're all idiots. Seriously, like most of them are idiots. We're going to move right along to what I don't like about this movie. What a special crop of dipshits we have here. There's a simple rule, and they even state it in the movie: if it's stuck, don't pull on it. One quick once-over would have told you, yep, this is a trap. I mean, even us, the audience, can see when he opens that door, you can see the pulley system next to him that obviously leads to the chain to the key that he pulls that closes the door. Remember, if it's stuck, don't pull it. Taking any amount of time to look through this and say, hey dude, can you stand and make sure this door isn't shut? Thanks. They would have saved 2 lives just in that one moment of clarification. Addison. This bitch. Okay, this is the girl who goes into the room where we find the 2 holes with the shingled blades in them, and she sticks her hand in one of them, so it gets stuck. She can't get the hand out. So what's the obvious choice? You stick your hand up in the shingles, loosen them, and get your hand out, right? No. Not this genius. You deserve to die. I don't even feel bad. Like, you deserve this. Even when Xavier comes in and doesn't save you, I don't feel bad. You've put yourself in this position. Now, I know these aren't real people, and I'm not mad at the actual people for being dumb. This actually goes back to what I consider to be sloppy writing. Not only do these characters make these painfully obvious mistakes, but there's also key elements in the film that I felt were abandoned halfway through, like the tapes left by Jigsaw. We don't get a chance to hear everyone's tapes that Jigsaw left behind for them. We only hear Xavier's tape, we hear Ollie's tape, and then we hear the group tape, the one he made for everybody. There's tapes in these other rooms. Again, going back to the dumb chick who deserved to die, Addison, when she walks into that room, she pulls the letter down, rips the thing open, looks at the tape, and tosses it aside. I feel like this is an illustration with what the writers did with this concept. They're like, yeah, we could play a tape, but let's just get her stuck in the trap instead. Like, it seems like the writers kind of ditched the game aspect of the film, and it seems like they did so just to move the story ahead a little bit faster. And another example, Detective Matthews going with Jigsaw to the house alone. This is suspicious, Detective Matthews. This is an obvious trap, a little too obvious for me to believe that a detective like you, even in this state of mind, would fall for it. This is Jigsaw, a man known for luring people into traps. I don't feel like Detective Matthews is that dumb of a character, and I blame the writing. Again, just sloppy writing to move the story forward. Let's hurry up and get to the end. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, let's just have them go in a car and go to the house, and then Detective Matthews will trap himself. Brilliant, put it in the movie. Just sloppy writing. Now, unfortunately, the gore made it onto my what I don't like list, but there are some good cringy moments. The needle in the haystack scene. Ugh. Just thinking of the needles going through your finger. Oh, God, that is a very cringy scene. Oh, I hate that. I can just feel it. I can feel it in my hands. But the gore is a different story. It took a back seat in this sequel. Even though there's 7 people that die in this film and 7 people that died in the other film. Well, 6, but 7 if you include the guy that stayed in the bathroom and died slowly over time, because we do see him in this movie as a dead corpse. So he did die. So even though there's 7 people that died in both movies, I'm talking about quality over quantity. It's just not as gory as it could have been. Show me a dude digging his eye out before the Venus flytrap clamps on his face. Let's see Addison rip the flesh from her bones as she pulls out of the trap. That would have been cool, huh? This is a Saw movie. Bring the pain, man. It's a bit disappointing when you actually think about how much gore they didn't show in this film. But the show must go on. So here's your obligatory murder montage. Enjoy. And the last thing I'm going to talk about on my what I don't like list is Beverly Mitchell as Laura. She is the worst actress in this entire movie. In a movie filled with not such good actors. Every line of dialogue feels uncomfortable, forced, over the top, unnatural. Even when she's passed out, it looks like the director just told her, hey, play dead. Oh, just play dead? Okay. Which is sad because this movie was an attempt for her to step out of her Seventh Heaven role that she had for a very long time and to show that she has a broader acting range, which apparently she doesn't. I haven't really heard of her since. I think she does Christmas movies now or something. Anyhow, overall, I consider this sequel a great attempt to try to change things up while sticking to the Saw basics. With a well-paced story and fleshed out main characters, I enjoyed diving deeper into the Saw mythology. But sloppy writing and not meeting my expectations of gore, that's why I'm giving this movie a C-.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
Whew, all right, we made it. That was long. That was a long recording. Please let me know what you guys thought about this movie in the comments below. And don't forget, Cody Leach drops his review of the first Saw movie later this week. Subscribe to his channel and get the notifications now so you don't miss it. Plus, he's always putting out great content that you will enjoy, especially if you're a horror hound like myself. He kind of specializes in his horror reviews. Also, be sure to check out some more of my videos right here. And as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
Do not attempt to use this key on the door to this room. Who gives a shit about the note, all right? A fucking big goddamn joke, and I'm about to end it.